Hello, and welcome to Lesson 4 of the Food Handler Safety Course, provided by Texas Best Food Services Training. I'm Bradley Gene Cox, your instructor for this lesson. This lesson will provide instruction in cross-contamination and will explain how to properly clean and sanitize in order to prevent any food contamination from occurring. First, for a few definitions. Cross-contamination. Cross-contamination is the passing of bacteria, microorganisms, or other harmful substances directly or indirectly from one item of concern to another through improper or unsterilized equipment, procedures, or products. Clean. Clean means free from dirt, unsoiled, unstained, and free from foreign or extraneous matter. Sanitization. Sanitization is the application of heat or chemicals on cleaned food contact surfaces that, when evaluated, is sufficient to reduce by 99.999% disease-causing microorganisms of public health importance. Preventing food and ingredient contamination. We'll discuss two different means by which you can prevent food and ingredient contamination. The first method is by keeping food and ingredients separate. Keeping it separate. Make sure that at all times, whether food is being stored, prepared, displayed, served, or transported, it is protected from potential contamination. There should always be segregation between the different types of food as follows. Raw animal food. Separate raw animal foods during storage and preparation, as well as holding and display. Ready-to-eat food. Ready-to-eat food includes other raw animal food, such as fish used for sushi or molluscan shellfish, and other raw, ready-to-eat food, such as vegetables from other cooked, ready-to-eat food. Beef, fish, lamb, pork, and poultry, except when being combined as ingredients, should be separated by using separate equipment for each type of food, or arranging each type of food in the equipment so as to prevent cross-contamination. Storing food in covered containers or wrappings. Certain types of food should not only be kept separate from other food when necessary, but also should be stored properly. Food should be stored in packages, covered containers, or wrappings. Or hermetically sealed containers should be cleaned of any visible soiling before they are opened. And food containers should be protected where they are safe from cuts. And damaged, spoiled, or recalled foods should be stored separately. And fruits and vegetables, before they have been washed, should be separated from other ready-to-eat food. And containers should be identified clearly with the name of the food. Any food that is removed from its original packaging, such as herbs, spices, sugar, etc., and placed into other containers, must be identified with the common name of the food. Exception is food that is easily recognized and not mistaken for something else. Does not have to be labeled. Macaroni noodles is an example. Food must be protected from any unapproved additives and protected from unsafe or unapproved food or color additives. And any packaged food that is vended should be retained in its original container. And food should always be stored in the following manners. In a clean, dry location, where it cannot be exposed to splash, dust, or other contaminant, and at least 15 centimeters or 6 inches above the floor. Food that is stored in packages and working containers may be stored less than 6 inches from the floor. Pressurized beverage containers, cased foods, and waterproof containers, such as bottles, cans, milk containers, etc., can be stored on the floor, so long as it is clean and there is no moisture. Food may not be stored in the following locations: locker rooms, toilet rooms, dressing rooms, garbage rooms, mechanical rooms, underneath sewer lines not shielded to intercept potential drips, or underneath leaking water lines, or under stairwells, or under any other source of contamination. Cleaning and sanitizing equipment and utensils. First, it is important to know that all equipment and utensils should be clean to the sight and to the touch. Food contact surfaces. Food contact surfaces of cooking equipment and pans should be kept free from encrusted grease deposits and any other soil accumulation. Non-food contact surfaces. These should be kept free from any dust, dirt, food residue, and other debris. Frequency of cleaning. Equipment, food contact surfaces, and utensils must be cleaned, unless otherwise specified, before use with a different type of raw animal food, such as beef, fish, lamb, pork, or poultry. Between uses with raw fruits and vegetables and with potentially hazardous food, and before using or storing a food temperature measuring device, or at any point where contamination may occur. Cooking and baking equipment must be cleaned at least every 24 hours on food contact surfaces. Note, this does not apply to hot oil cooking or filtering equipment. The cavities and door seals of microwaves must be cleaned at least every 24 hours. How often is that neglected? Use manufacturer's recommended cleaning method, and for non-food contact surfaces, these must be cleaned at a frequency necessary to preclude accumulation of soil residues. Methods of cleaning. There's dry cleaning, there's brushing, scraping, and vacuuming. Only used on surfaces that have dry food residue, and not to be used on surfaces that are potentially hazardous, or other cleaning equipment used for dry cleaning cannot be used for any other purpose. Pre-cleaning. Food debris on utensils and equipment must be scraped over a waste disposal unit or garbage area, or removed in a warewashing machine with a pre-wash cycle. If necessary, these materials must be pre-flushed, pre-soaked, or scrubbed with abrasives. Loading of soiled items. Soiled items that are to be cleaned in a warewashing machine must be loaded onto racks, trays, or baskets, or onto conveyors, so that the items are exposed to unobstructed spray from all cycles, and the items are allowed to drain. Wet cleaning. Equipment or utensils on food contact surfaces must be effectively washed in order to remove or completely loosen any soil. This may be done mechanically or manually. Detergents containing wetting agents and emulsifiers, acid, alkaline, or abrasive cleaners. Hot water, brushes, scouring pads, or high-pressure sprays. Washing process will be determined by the type of purpose the equipment or utensil serves and the type of soil that needs to be removed. Methods of sanitization. Sanitization can be accomplished through two means: hot water or chemical. After being cleaned, equipment that involves food contact surfaces and utensils needs to be sanitized in either hot water manual immersion for at least 30 seconds, or hot water mechanical operations, or cycled through equipment, and utensil surface temperatures must reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Chemical, manual, or mechanical operations. Sanitizing equipment and utensils by immersion, manual swabbing, gusher, or pressure spraying. Sanitization exposure time. Chlorine solution, probably the most common. The TFER states at least 10 seconds in a chlorine solution of 50 milligram per liter with a pH of 10 or less and a temperature of at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or at least 7 seconds, a pH of 8 or less, and a temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Boy, if you don't have a degree in chemistry, here's another solution. A chlorine solution between 50 and 99 parts per million in water that is at least 70 degrees for 10 seconds. Test strips for this is easy to obtain. Other chemical sanitization solutions, at least 30 seconds, like iodine. An exposure time should be used in relationship with a combination of temperature, concentration, and pH. It doesn't take much. Sanitizers are often abused. Not enough sanitizer is a health hazard, and too much is a chemical hazard. Add little by little and test it until it is in the proper range. Cleaning versus sanitization. It is important to know that cleaning and sanitization are different terms, and the processes cannot be used interchangeably. Cleaning is a process that removes food or other types of soil from surfaces like countertops, plates, etc. Sanitization, on the other hand, is utilized in order to reduce the number of microorganisms on the clean surfaces to levels that are safe. Both cleaning and sanitization can be done with either heat or chemicals. Making sure sanitizers are effective. There are different sanitizers. The concentration of the solution when in the water will determine its effectiveness. The temperature of the water is also a factor. The length of time that the sanitizer comes into contact with the surface or equipment will also determine its effectiveness. Sanitizers that are used must always be EPA registered. Test kits are required by the FDA Food Code and agencies that inspect your facility. When you test your sanitizing solution, you're supposed to keep your test strips. In the food industry, chlorine and quaternary ammonia sanitizers are often the most commonly used. Take note that all chemical sanitizers have their own pros and cons. Smell, staining, cost, effects, potential for skin irritation, etc. And that you can ask a chemical supplier to help you make the right choice for your establishment. 3-compartment sink. A sink with at least 3 compartments shall be provided for manually washing, rinsing, and sanitizing equipment and utensils. With approval, alternative manual warewashing equipment may be used when there are special cleaning needs or constraints. And you can look these up in the TFR and that section. Sink compartments shall be large enough to accommodate immersion of the largest equipment and utensils. If equipment or utensils are too large for warewashing sinks, a warewashing machine or alternative equipment shall be used. These sinks are generally used in order to manually wash things such as pots, pans, utensils, and bar glasses. 3-compartment sinks are designed for the specific purpose of washing, rinsing, and sanitizing. Remember that all sinks must be cleaned and rinsed before being used for this process. Here we have a 3-compartment sink. On the left, this is a table for sorting and scraping. Sink number 1 is for wash, the middle for rinse, the third for sanitize, and the table on the right for air drying. Setting up a 3-compartment sink. Start by cleaning and sanitizing each sink and all work surfaces. In sink 1, fill with water at least 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Some say 100 degrees, but TFER says 110. Add detergent so that it's nice and sudsy. Sink 2, fill with water. Leave the sink empty if you are spray rinsing items. Sink 3, fill with water. Add sanitizer, as described above, and then check the strength of the sanitizer. And again, just go little by little until you get to the proper amount. Steps for cleaning and sanitizing items in a 3-compartment sink. Rinse, scrape, or soak the items before washing them. Clean the items in the first sink. Use a brush, cloth, or nylon scrub pad to loosen dirt. And change the water when the suds are gone or the water is dirty. Rinse the items in the second sink. Dip them in water or spray rinse them. Remove any food or detergent and change the water when it becomes dirty or full of suds. Sanitize the item in the third sink. Soak them in a sanitizer solution as described above. Never rinse the items after sanitizing them. This could contaminate the surfaces. And then last, air dry the items. Place them upside down so they will drain. And do not wipe them dry. Storing cleaning supplies. Cleaning supplies and equipment must be stored so that they do not contaminate food. Equipment, utensils, linens, and single-service and single-use articles. And stored in an orderly manner that facilitates cleaning the area used for storing the maintenance tools. And the premise shall be free from items that are unnecessary to the operation of maintenance of the establishment, such as equipment that is non-functional or no longer used, and litter. And that brings us to the end of Lesson 4. Thank you very much.